Tonight on Closer Look, accused arsonist Brandon Costa has pleaded guilty to the fire that destroyed a heritage building in downtown Orillia back in January that caused $6 million in damage. Village Media court reporter Peter Robinson is following this case and joins us tonight with the latest. Peter, let's start by going back to that fateful day in January. Just how massive was the fire, and what kind of impact and devastation did it have on the community then and still to this day?
Yeah, I mean, if you could just sort of ask the viewer to think about the typical downtown in a small Canadian city, Orillia has that sort of classic downtown feel, and to have one of the heritage buildings completely gutted by fire, it leaves a massive hole. As the Crown said yesterday, there's elements of the community that'll never recover. It was originally listed as a $4 million blaze. That now has been upgraded to $6 million. A local doctor owned the building. There was local businesses, including a couple of different, a bunch of actually several artists who lost a lot of artwork in it. So it just had a really devastating impact on the people that used the building for their business, but also people around it, businesses around it. It was, and to say nothing of, I mean, the fire was raging for 10, 12 hours. It took 24 hours to put out. You can imagine in the dead of winter, the effect, the water waste. It was just a terrible, terrible event.
Peter, what do we know about the accused Brandon Costa? And maybe if you can describe the timeline leading up to his arrest.
Yeah, he was picked up about a day after the fire, caught on camera setting it. It was pretty obvious he was setting it in order to get warm. It had been close to minus 30 that night. Brandon Costa, 35 years old, ostensibly from Brampton. It was never made clear why he was in Orillia. Set the fire, as I say, for warmth. It soon got out of control. He tried to stop it. Everything was caught on camera, including audio where he's describing his feelings as things are happening. And it was fully engulfed the front vestibule of the building within an hour or so. And shortly after that, fire crew was on scene. And as I say, it raged for 10 or 12 hours and took a full day to put out.
Now, the Crown and the defense are proposing very different sentences here. The Crown says this can only be described as arson, but Costa insists he started the fire, to your point, for warmth. Sentencing now set for next week. What is each side seeking, Peter? And given Costa's background, do legal experts anticipate the sentence to lean more towards rehabilitation or retribution?
Well, in all honesty, Scott, I think an NCR, not criminally responsible defense, was probably available here. Mr. Costa has some clear mental health struggles made worse by a serious car accident he was in about 10 years ago. The difference that you outline in the sentence proposals between the Crown and his lawyer, his defense lawyer, is one of either conditional sentence, which is effectively house arrest, or actual prison time. There's really not that far apart in terms of time, either a year and a half. My sense is, knowing the judge, is that it's probably going to end up being a conditional sentence because it's obvious there was no ill intent other than extremely careless behavior with a lighter and starting a fire. You're talking about someone that, despite all the bad hand he had been dealt in life, he had no criminal record. He was 35 years old, or actually, sorry, he had one thing on his criminal record, but it was unrelated, and it was 15 years ago, an impaired charge. So I think we're looking at a conditional sentence, house arrest, somewhere around a year.
All right. Now, you mentioned the building owned by a doctor. That's Dr. Jeffrey Pitcher. And he read a victim impact statement that was quite moving, especially when you consider the circumstances and what was lost. What did he say?
Yeah, I think what it encapsulated is beyond the actual loss of a heritage building in a small community like this. It spoke to the bigger issues of homelessness, drug addiction, mental health struggles. And Dr. Pitcher seemed very aware of that. He didn't voice any harsh language at all towards Mr. Costa. He did point out what a struggle it's been for him. He said that he had effectively had to take on an extra full-time job in order to meet with all the stakeholders to rebuild. But I think the most interesting comment was that he said that he hoped Mr. Costa used the fire as a source to ignite change in his life. And what he clearly meant by that is that there's a bigger issue at play here, and that is as a community, as a province, as a country, we have to do something about the homeless crisis that is before us right now.
All right, and let's talk about that for a little bit more. Has this case, Peter, sparked any broader discussions or maybe some community initiatives about addressing homelessness or providing better support for those with mental health challenges?
I think it's a little early. I think it could, because when you're talking about a massive fire, and we haven't even talked about the cost of community resources. I mean, the cost of having firefighters on site for 24 hours. I think it's precisely the type of thing, no matter where you are on the political spectrum, that we have to get some solutions on the table here for how to solve homelessness, because no matter where you stand, these are the types of things that can happen if we have the high numbers of people who have no place to live and are living on the streets, living in shelters, finding rough sort of accommodation, because it's only going to get worse. Interestingly, I happen to have had to go to the hospital emergency room in the last week with my mother-in-law. She's fine now, but homelessness and the state of our healthcare system is also roughly equal right now, if you've ever had a occasion to visit an emergency room. But it's, we have a lot of work ahead of us as a society right now.
We certainly do. There's court reporter Peter Robinson reporting tonight on the $6 million arson case in Orillia. That's all for Closer Look. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow night at 7. For all of us at Village Media, thanks for watching.